Good morning, awesome sorters. Welcome again to another day in the backyard apiary. So today what we have is a little interesting thing. We're doing the change out of a colony that's in a 5-frame setup into a more 10-frame box. Alright. Generally when you have nukes and you have them pretty much when the nectar season is going on, those spaces are not going to be adequate enough for those nukes as they progress through the new season, right? So we have a couple couple of the 5-frame boxes that we want to change out, but today we're just going to give you a glimpse into one of them, which is hive number 2. All right, so pretty much we want to change it out, not only to give them space, but to also free up some of the 5-frame boxes that we have. All right, so just giving you an insight into some of the equipments that I have. What you're looking at here is a top cover. All right, so essentially what you used to see me use is just a piece of ply with a thinner side shim. They're about a 3/4 was there before, but now we kind of widen it a bit because the thing is, we pretty much have this, it's just gonna sit flush with the 10-frame box. All right, so and we want to give the bees a little bit more space in the top section to roam, pretty much. So that's why we made the shims look like this, or the top covers look like this. The hope, we kind of painted it with some thick paint of wood paint, 2 coats. We didn't dilute the paint at all, so it went on nicely. What I'm worried about is really the edges that are kind of exposed. Even though we gave it some thick coat of paint, we still might have seepage of moisture in there. So one of the things I'll be doing in the future is I'll be making some more aluminum covers that will be just go over it. It won't have any wood or anything under it. It'll just pretty much be like a little hat for the hives, pretty much. So that's what I plan to do in the future. So these are kind of like the temporary cover. They should be able to resist some aspect of water on top. It did get a lot of coating on it. All right, so this is the cover, and now we're changing up our bottom board. So we're moving to a solid bottom board setup, pretty much because we have observed some deficiencies in the current bottom board we're using. Even though it has the tray that would similar to how you see the space here, how the other bottom board is designed is that there's like a tray setup that I can put in a little plank, so it actually stops probably 95% of the moisture from coming up from the ground. And inside the tray I really put this fluid we call diatomaceous earth, right? And that will allow any beetles or wax moth that goes into that to really die. Even if the bees go in there, they'll die as well. Well, depends on how covered they are with it, because the bees have a more hygienic behavior than the other insects. But the bees can't actually go because what is there is a mesh that I think is a 1/8 mesh hardware cloth. Would have been on the older bottom boards. So like hive beetles and stuff, the bees can actually push them through and they drop into the diatomaceous earth, which will kill them. But what we've observed is that the wax moth, over time, that diatomaceous earth kind of becomes hardened, or I would say caked up, as well as the droppings from the bees in terms of wax, pollen, and any other debris always falls down into the tray. And if I'm not cleaning it frequently, what happens is the wax moth actually find their way down there, and they start laying their larvae, and they start spreading along in there over time. So we're trying out the solid boards to see how effectively it'll work. We're not going to change out all the hives at the moment, but most of them will try to change out the bottom boards and see how effective that works with the apiary. All right, but for right now, this bottom board is going to one of the 5-frame nukes. So this hive you're looking at right here is hive number 2, and trust me guys, it has, over the past few months, it has developed nicely. Where the colony and the brood is actually spanning 5 frames of brood in there. They have been using their frame and space effectively to store the nectar above in the nectar arches. So they have some really fat nectar arches going on in this hive. Alright, what we're basically doing is we're gonna move this hive from here, put it a little bit behind. You can also put it front to the front or to the side, but it's just based on how I have the space here. So you're gonna move this away, right? The next thing you're going to do now is just put the equipment that you're going to put them in here in this position. So 5 frame box, taking it away a little quick, as quick as possible. Then what we do is we drop the other box in the position as quick as possible. Alright, so there we go. Yeah, so the next thing we're going to do is just close off part of the entrance, pretty much, and gradually move the other bees over. Alright. Alright, so that's the first frame. As I said, we're gonna give them some foundation sheets as well. So at the end here, we want to put a foundation sheet right beside this. Then we're gonna put over the rest of the frames into here. Alright. So put in one more foundation there. So in essence, we're kind of checkerboarding in the new foundations to let them build it out. Basically, we have space for 2 more frames. We're going to leave it open for now, basically, and let them just grow on these frames. All right. So the next thing now is to get the rest of the bees from the other 5 frame box into and over to here. Now what I usually do is I just set them up. Instead of kind of shaking them off, I really just put the box over the one that the new one, kind of just smoke the bees down. Yeah, get them running towards the brood that's below. Alright, that's what we do. That's how it is in there. You can see them moving towards it. So we just need to apply a little bit more smoke and get them to move down to the brood. Yeah, once most of them are out of the box, to just speed up the process, we can just easily just shake off the rest. Alright? And doing it that way kind of gives you less hassle with the bees coming out at you. All aggressive and all of that, right? So we're going to have some little stragglers on here, which is the bottom board. Alright, so we need to get these girls shaken into the new hive or the new home. So what we're not gonna really shake them, because what we don't want is the debris from the bottom board falling into the hive. Alright, so we're pretty much just gonna shake them. Sorry, not shake them, smoke them and let them run towards the new home. Alright, and they will move towards it. We just need to just apply the smoke, and you can see that they were trapping some hive beetles in this hive, you know. So when you get this chance to kind of squash some of them, you pretty much squash them. Don't let them escape. Alright, by next week or so we come back, we'll definitely see some of these combs being built out, and that's the key thing. Just give them the space, let them grow, right? Yep, and the final touch to this is just to pretty much put the top on, and that's it. So this is what I'm talking about. It will sit flush on the top section of the box. What we want to make next is some aluminum sheeting covers that we can just put over this, and that will be the final setup of the hive. So let's give you a little far glimpse of their brand new home. See, looks nice, right? The bees get a bossy home to stay into, you know. So we'll leave them, let them get oriented to their new home. They'll definitely be going through it and propolizing the edges and all of that, and we'll be able to kind of seal back in that color inside of that chamber effectively. So I feel like that opening for now is adequate for them, so just let them get used to it and reorientate. So you see quite a lot of them coming back home from foraging, and they're not used to that opening, so they're a little bit frantic and trying to hover until they land to get inside. All right, so that's it for them. This hive gets a nice little 1-bedroom to grow in, yeah, from the back, and from the side, yeah. It looks nice, right, with the blue and white, but it's just the only paint I have at the moment, so, or the only color paint I had, so that's why it's like this. So alright guys, so pretty much what you've seen just now is me expanding the rental room for the one of my colonies that I have in the backyard apiary, which is number 2. So we pretty much changed it out from a 5-frame box to a 10-frame box for them to grow a little bit more. The thing about number 2, it has shown me that it is a really good colony, because I've caught that swarm, it has built up so superbly on multiple occasions where I took brood frames from it, and it just keeps pumping up and getting back large again. So I think it's an okay colony. We'll work with it because it has somewhat proven itself. So we'll let it stay in that 10-frame box for now, let it grow out a little bit, and eventually we might super it later down in the year. Right now it doesn't need to be supered. What we might eventually do is, if we go through some of our larger colonies, or even some of the other 5-frame boxes where we see they're getting too strong for the box and we want to take a little strength from them, we can push that strength to number 2 here, so that number 2 can actually grow a little faster, and that means we can actually super it to potentially get some honey from it. We're not sure, but it really boils down to if we do it now. If within the next month we can give it 2 frames of brood from another colony, that would be excellent. Trust me, they will expand out nicely if we give it 2 frames of brood. So we'll see what we can do in the coming weeks, but I think the next initiative we have now is to kind of make a cell builder, queen cell builder, and finish a colony. So that's why we kind of freed up that 5-frame box also to have that initiative going. All right, so as usual guys, thanks for tuning in. Your time was greatly appreciated. We just want to implore you to give the video a like, share with your friends, hit that subscription and notification bell so you can see when new videos come out. More Miss Claudia, and definitely enjoy the rest of your week, and peace out.